turning point that causes Sam to make his final decision regarding Max? Was it a sudden decision, or has he been thinking about it for a while? What clues do you find throughout the novel to support your position?
Well, on page 193, Sam tells Claire and his dad that he has been thinking about it for a long time. And I think his turning point was when he was with Andy and he felt like he was like a kid again and he didn't have to worry about Max or any of that. So I think the turning point was really when him and Andy hang out and like play sports and stuff.
I agree with a lot of that. I don't think, but I just think there wasn't exactly like one turning point. I think it was just like a buildup of events of just like him probably wanting to go to college and him wanting to have like a normal life again. And yeah, I was gonna put like the same page on page 193 that he said he's been thinking of for a while. And I was just thinking, I hope it wouldn't be just like one decision like the accident that would make him give up the kid, because I think that'd be kind of like a bad decision. Just one thing to happen and make him want to give up your child.
I think that I feel like when he heard his teachers in the first chapter say that they thought he was smart and should move up, and I feel like that added on with the fact that he got such good ACT scores, really wanted him to pursue higher education. So I feel like that's what kind of he wanted to make his life go in a different direction than what he was headed.
Well, and like what Simone was saying, like when he was hanging out with Andy and like he wasn't feeling the responsibility, like in chapter 2 on page 9, he was walking through the aisles and like he saw the cheese puffs and remembered like what it was like to hang out on Friday nights with Andy. And I think like that kind of was like showing that he started thinking about it, because he was trying to like remember what it was like to be a teen again and to like not have all the responsibility that he was having.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. In the novel, when Claire and him went on dates in the hospital and the dinner date with all their friends, I feel like in general he felt judged going out in public and being around people. And without having a supportive father, that put a lot of unnecessary pressure on him. So when he was outside with the boys at dinner and could think about how much fun he was having and how much he missed those times before he had a kid, I thought that made him have like this decision and realize how hard and expensive it was to have a baby like long term.
And also, basically the ACTs also propelled him into giving up for adoption. As on page 89, there's a quote that says, he says, "It's just, if I didn't have," and I was close to saying, "if I didn't have Max." So he was definitely thinking about it during the time, and it was sort of propelling him. But on page 173, when Max got the cut, that basically was the turning point for him to say, "All right, I'm done."
I also thought the turning point was chapter 21 where Max got cut. So like made him realize like he's not ready for the responsibility of having a kid, and like Max is his responsibility. He wasn't watching him like he should have, so he just figured he can like do better, like have better parenting for Max, like find a better family for him.
Yeah.
One thing that added to like his decision to like give up Max was the construction job, because I think he wouldn't even like Manjeet said in like page 141 or 142. Like I don't think Max really loved the idea of working at a construction job for his whole entire life, and he wanted to like work with computers and do other things instead of just working a job he hated for the rest of his life.
I agree with Connor and Tyler. I agree with Connor in like the construction job was like kind of putting a lot of pressure on him, because on page 42 he was talking like about like the deal and like what he talked with his dad about, and like the entire time just reading it felt like he was really stressed about it, and like he didn't really agree with doing it, but it was something that he knew he had to do because of like that's what the responsible thing to do is. And then I agree with Tyler in like when Max cut his hand, because on page 174 Sam rushed in and saw Max in Jenny's arms covered in blood, and it was like kind of his like realization that it is a lot of responsibility to take care of a child, and that like there are always going to be things that are going to happen and they're not going to be within his control. And I don't think he I don't think he can figure out like how to get through everything, and I think he feels like he has to be able to get through everything.
I agree, and then, but I feel like also when he saw Max, I feel like he was still like worried about Max. But then I think like the moment he probably like really changed his mind, like was on page 198 when the dad was trying to talk to him, and then Sam started crying in his arms, and it just made him cry harder. Because I feel like when he started crying, he kind of realized that like even though he felt like he should be treated like he's responsible, you kind of feel like he realized that he's not as responsible as he thought.
Going off what you said, Mateo, I think on page 195 when Sam's talking to Claire, he says, "Honest, Claire, don't you think he should have a real father?" And I think that's a good example or a good turning point, because after Max cut his hands, it was kind of just like something out of his control. And it kind of made Sam like realize that a lot of things are out of his control, and like as a single parent, his son wouldn't get the same childhood if he were to have two.
I thought that the turning point was when Sam saw his SAT scores, because I think it was validation that he was smart and should be going to college. And on page 193, Sam was talking about how he had been thinking about it for a while, and he said it's not just last night, it's all kinds of stuff. So I think that shows that he was thinking about it for a while, and it wasn't just a clear-cut decision.
I agree with you, Kate, but then I also found on page 171 that like the first time he talked about it in the book, I think, is when him and Andy were playing basketball, and Andy knocked him down. And he said, I lay there for a minute thinking about how much I missed this, and I think like that was like when he realized like, okay, like I really like want that back again.
So I wanna build off Tyler's point when he said that the turning point was when Sam got cut on the glass. And I think that wasn't really a turning point, but it was like a finalization point when, because he got cut on the glass in chapter 21, and then like right after that, obviously then he decided to give him up for adoption. But I think that a lot of events led up to this, that Sam was getting very frustrated with Max, and then this kind of just finalized his decision.
Yeah,
about it. So there's a lot of clues going into it.
And that's what I basically wrote down. I mean, there was a whole bunch of events like the ACTs, college, the construction work, just the responsibilities. But the cut on the glass is just basically Sam realizing that it's here now or never, that he's going to have to give it up.
Yeah, I think turning point, I think it came pretty early in the book, and that was on page 9 when it talked about when he was getting diapers from Max. And the quote I kind of looked at was, I picked this store because it was so far away from home, and that's when he noticed, I think a friend's mom he saw at the store. And I think it just kind of showed that he was almost embarrassed to have Max, and he didn't really want to see anyone from his old school or his old, in his city, and then just be asked questions about having Max. I think that was kind of the start of it. Then like you guys were saying, I think the cutting of the glass was kind of the ending point of that, where he knew he really had to give him up.
Well, I kind of disagree with that. I think if you're a teen parent, you're just going to be embarrassed that like you're going to different school because like you had a child. Like it's kind of an embarrassing thing. So like I think any teen parent might act a little bit like that, at least.
It is, but it's also why you don't want to have a baby.
I also found another quote on page 163. Another I think one of like the ideas that led up to him giving Max up was that he hadn't read the parenting book in 3 weeks. So probably felt like he wasn't prepared to be a father as much as he should have when he was reading the book. Like, yeah.
Well, and towards like the end of the book, like he was talking about like how he wasn't like on a schedule with Max, like especially at the end after he came home from the hospital, like he felt like when he gave him the bottle, he felt like it was back when Max was like a newborn, and like they didn't wake up until really late, and then like it kind of just seemed like he was like derailing from like his normal schedule.
Yeah, I also agree with that. I think the most like when Sam told Claire that he was actually going to give Max up for adoption was the turning point. decision.
I disagree with that, Sam.
Yeah.
I feel like there was many things piling up on Sam's plate, and he couldn't really complete them all. And then glad when Max cut his hands, just kind of like the cherry on top that like overdid it all and put him made his decision.
So I have a question. So
Made it more
if
named.
that accident didn't happen, like and Sam or Max didn't get his hands cut, do you think they would, or Sam would still have Max?
No, I think he still would.
I think he'd eventually like give him up. So like eventually something else would happen or something similar would happen. He realized like I can't do this. Like I'm just not cut out for it right now. Like I'm a team parent. He's 18, and he's a kid. So he just like realized he couldn't do it, like the responsibility for it.
I agree with that. I just think that since he said that he's been thinking about it for a while, that he just like eventually knew that he would. So I don't think it mattered that Max got it.
All right, great discussion.